The Game Awards, the biggest commercial disguised as an award show. Just like every other award show. What started in 2014 and all its disorganized and chaos turned into a night celebrating gaming's greatest achievements of the year, with Jeff Keighley, gaming's favorite Canadian journalist, hosting the show to see games get the recognition they deserve. Also, lots of announcements. Did I mention that? They'd probably announce something cool this year. Here's something cool they announced this year. World of Goo?
What a beautiful world.
World of Goo? World of Goo?
Too bad they never made another one.
World of Goo?
Ew!
But one company I know loves making games and is very historical with them, I'm sure. Nintendo! They make games that deserve some recognition too. While they may not care about the gaming awards as much as Sony or Microsoft, they've won their fair share of awards, and we're gonna talk about them today. We're going through every year of the Game Awards to see what Nintendo games won these awards, and ones that got nominated too. It's a bit topical since the Game Awards just happened, and I want to see if these wins, or lack of wins, were deserved over the years. Should Nintendo have won more? Did they deserve to win that award? Does the Game Awards even want to acknowledge their existence? Did they just win the family category because the Game Awards thought their stuff was just for babies? Who said that? We're going to find that out today, looking at each year all the way back in 2014 when the awards started, all the way to present day 2023. So let's not waste any time, let's talk about Nintendo's Game Award wins so far. And let's start with the very beginning, 2014. Ah yes, the first show of them all. And you can tell it's the first show based on the weird pacing, mishaps, and jokes.
I got the triangle here. Huh? Ron, what instrument is that?
Oh, this isn't an instrument. This is just to help me get crumbs later.
But the video isn't about that. It's about Nintendo and the awards they won. One of the popular categories they won was Best Fighting Game, with Super Smash Bros. Wii U. And yeah, I can see why it won. Smash games have a lot of effort put into them, even if Smash 4 had some issues at the time. It was the reason a lot of people bought a Wii U in the first place. Speaking of reasons people bought a Wii U, Mario Kart 8 took not only the Best Racing Game category, but also Best Family Game category, an award that you're going to see on this list quite often. And finally, while they didn't win Game of the Year, Nintendo won Developer of the Year. Basically a category recognizing developers or development teams who shine that year. It's an award that no longer exists in the Game Awards, but hey, it's something. And while Dragon Age Inquisition won Game of the Year, Nintendo did get a nomination for that category with Bayonetta 2, a game that I am surprised didn't win more categories, but hey, a nomination's a nomination. I can't say in this case for sure if Bayonetta 2 should have won Game of the Year instead. Never played. But Nintendo winning Developer of the Year is completely valid. 2014 was the best year for the Wii U by far, and was when the console was at its peak, before everyone including Nintendo gave up on it. These games were truly fantastic, and while the Game Awards were just getting on their feet, Nintendo had some decent representation, and a lot of Nintendo involvement. With tons of announcements and looks at their games, Reggie appears multiple times, whether to make speeches for awards Nintendo has received, or just to present a few things too and be part of the show. And to show off a few games too, like a sneak peek of Breath of the Wild. They even had Koji Kondo, yes, the Koji Kondo, playing Mario tunes on the piano to open, and having him play with Imagine Dragons of all bands to do a Zelda melody. This is crazy to hear this happen nearly 10 years ago. Nintendo back then really was involved with the Game Awards, even with the Wii U not succeeding that much at the time. But hey, it's the first year! I'm sure next year the Wii U will be better in no time. 2015, the year Witcher 3 won Game of the Year, and I never played it. But also Mario Maker got a nomination, which was pretty cool. It did win an award though, with a popular Mario making game winning Best Family Game. A little bit weird choice, as it feels less about recognizing the game for its achievements and more just for giving Nintendo a win because it's a kid's game. But Mario Maker literally was a game about making games. It should win something. A game that did take not one, but 2 awards was the at the time new IP Splatoon, splatting the scenes and taking Best Shooter and Best Multiplayer, which in my opinion are very well deserved, because it was a new IP that completely changed the shooting genre, and for a Wii U exclusive, made headlines, and would eventually become the start of such an iconic franchise. Deserves every praise it gets. With Game of the Year, one could argue that it should have went to Mario Maker, as it was such a huge impact in the YouTube scene, and allowed people to make their own Mario levels, which is insane in itself, but at the same time, it's hard to deny that CD Projekt Red's Witcher 3 didn't deserve the title either. And that's coming from someone who hasn't touched the game yet. People praised this game for all that it did, and all you could do in it, and the world you could get lost in. A natural choice for the hardcore gamer audience of the Game Awards. So yeah, it all fits. A little shaky with Mario Maker being a family game, but hey, it works. To change gears a bit, one of the most memorable Nintendo moments at the Game Awards 2015 wasn't an award or an announcement or anything like that. Jeff Keighley stopped all the commercials, all the awards, and for a good amount of the whole show, did a tribute to Iwata. For those who don't know, he passed away that year, and it hit the gaming community pretty hard. Jeff talked about how he saw him 6 weeks before his death.
He was still so joyful. He was smiling and laughing, and those are my final memories of meeting with him. And he said goodbye to me, a big smile on his face. He wished me well in my E3 preparations, and we're going to put the awards and the world premieres and all the marketing and everything aside to focus on the man of the hour.
There was this montage of photos of him. Reggie did a heartwarming speech of him, one that truly told us of his accomplishments and how he was a leader and a gamer.
He was my boss, and he was my mentor, and he was my colleague. But most of all, he was my friend, and I'm a better person for it. And I think every gamer is better for having Mr. Iwata's vision and talent help inspire and shape the passion we all share.
They even sung a song in his honor by Ben Harper. I counted for a good 10 minutes this went on, which is something the Game Awards now would probably never do. And I'm honestly glad that they did it back then. It means a lot that this show, a show that was trying to be the gaming Oscars at the time, were acknowledging the achievements of what is arguably one of the most important men in Nintendo, one of the most important men in gaming. It's beautiful, it's heartwarming, it's sad, it even made me cry at points. It's a wonderful tribute to a brilliant man. Seriously, go watch it. It's probably one of my favorite moments of the early Game Awards. Regardless to say, awards or no awards, Nintendo was represented well that year, and Iwata was remembered. Alright, let's put away the tissues. Okay, these 2 years were pretty rough for the Wii U, but I assure you 2016 is gonna be the best year for the Wii U ever. The year Overwatch won Game of the Year was the year the Wii U was left to die of starvation on a park bench. Nintendo got 0 Game of the Year nominations. Not a single one. In fact, a lot of categories that Nintendo took in the past 2 years lacked games from the family-friendly company as nominations. Best Family Game, while technically still a Nintendo franchise, was taken by Pokemon Go, a mobile app. Not a single first-party game got nominated. Nothing! Pokken Tournament got nominated for Best Fighting Game, but lost to Street Fighter V. Again, Pokemon Company. Heck, some nominations came in weird places this year, with Fire Emblem Fates getting a nomination and losing to Civilization VI. Yeah, that checks out. And Xenoblade Chronicles X getting nominated for Best Role-Playing Game and losing to Witcher 3 DLC? What? I get Witcher 3 was popular for sure, but it feels kind of unfair to put a DLC for a popular game that already won Game of the Year against 3 new games and an expansion of a popular MMO. And honestly, DLC should get their own category in general. But also, DLCs weren't as common as back then, and certainly didn't get as many award nominations. So, I guess it makes sense. But still, Xenoblade X got gypped. I know Xenoblade X is a forgotten stepchild of the Xenoblade series, but at the same time, it is still a magnificent game. It's huge. You can explore literally every square inch of that game, fighting crazy huge monsters and doing an insane amount of side quests. It should have taken this category. In fact, it should have gotten a Game of the Year nomination, even if it would have lost to Overwatch. It's not a perfect game, but it's still one of the best games the Wii U has ever put out, and still one of the remaining Wii U exclusives to this day. But Other than that, and maybe adding the Twilight Princess remake as a nomination or something, I understand why Nintendo didn't have much rep this year. Nintendo didn't really put out much great stuff in 2016. It was when the company announced the new Nintendo NX console, which would later become the Switch. People didn't want to play any Wii U games, and instead were waiting for the next brand new console. In fact, for the category of most anticipated game, a category chosen by the fans, us, the winner of that category was Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I wonder how that game turned out. 2017 was a golden year for games. Truly one of the best, with so many masterpieces coming out. Not only with spectacular games on other consoles, some fantastic indie games like Cuphead, but this year was the debut of the Nintendo Switch, and all the many games that came out for it. And the cream of the crop that kicked off the Switch was Breath of the Wild, a game that literally took the world by storm, changed the idea of what a Zelda game could be, and was the Game Award Game of the Year winner of 2017. Which was pretty crazy at the time. Breath of the Wild is a fantastic game, sure, but it was going up against some pretty decent competition. Horizon Zero Dawn, Super Mario Odyssey, PUBG, for some reason, and even Persona 5. I would have thought that was going to be the game of the year for sure. But no, Nintendo got a huge win as their launch title for their new console was the definitive game of 2017. According to Jeff Keighley's show anyway. My favorite thing is just watching the speech and just seeing how happy Aonuma is after getting the award. It's just so wholesome. Look at him. It also took a few more awards too, taking Best Gaming Direction and Best Action Adventure, both of which very well deserved in my opinion. After all, it changed the game for Zelda and made exploration and adventuring feel flawless. Well, most of the time. It didn't win everything though, as it lost Best Audio Design to Hellblade, Best Score and Music to Nier Automata, and Best Art Direction to Cuphead. While I can't speak for Hellblade or Nier, Cuphead deserved that award and no one can tell me otherwise. I mean, I love Breath of the Wild, but it wasn't perfect. And a lot of good games came out in 2017, so the fact it got 3 awards just shows how good the game actually is. And that wasn't the only Nintendo game to win awards. Best Family Game was reclaimed with Super Mario Odyssey, my personal favorite game of the year, so I say it deserves it. But I may be a bit biased. And with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario & Rabbids, and Splatoon 2 getting nominations for that category as well. Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle won Best Strategy Game. Even Metroid Samus Returns won Best Handheld Game, beating other Nintendo games in the process, but still, a win for Metroid. A long-returning franchise is always a good win. A lot of games got the praise they deserved. Even ARMS got a nomination. Splatoon 2 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, while getting a nomination for Best Multiplayer, lost to... Why was this game so popular? Regardless, you could argue that 2017 was one of the most successful years for Nintendo at the Game Awards, with their biggest game on the Switch at the time winning the Ultimate Gaming title, along with a few other wins too. And Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey deserved their wins and nominations, truly being some of my favorite games to be released that year. No Xenoblade 2 nomination, but hey, that game came out literally a week before the award show. It's too late to mention it here. Also, the Game Award Orchestra happened starting in 2017. That's cool, and honestly my favorite part of the award show. Glad it started. Wow, 2017 was a great year for Nintendo. With this being so good, I can only imagine 2018 being a fantastic year. They lost family category again? No! 2018, the year God of War won Game of the Year, and similar to 2016, no Nintendo games were nominated for Game of the Year, even with an additional nomination slot. And to rub salt in the wound, not a single Nintendo game won. Not even Best Family Game. Although it had its nominations. Mario Tennis Aces, Super Mario Party, Nintendo Labo, even Starlink, which, while was mostly a Ubisoft game, had some Star Fox properties. All of them lost to Overcooked 2, which honestly is really fun, but not my favorite game. Speaking of Mario Tennis Aces, that was nominated for Best Sports/Racing Game, but was destroyed by Forza Horizon 4. Octopath Traveler, one of the few completely new games of the Switch in 2018, got nominated for Best Role-Playing Game, Best Score and Music, and Best Art Direction, and lost to all of them, losing to Monster Hunter World, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Return of Obra Dinn, for their categories. So why was this? Are the Game Awards biased against Nintendo and refuse to acknowledge their achievements? No. 2018 just wasn't a good year for the Switch. It was mostly just ports of Wii U games and not so good games. While 2017 was filled with Switch games, 2018 was more of a catch-up year, with a lot of ports of Wii U games being put on the Switch, like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Even their original games didn't do so well, with Labo and especially Mario Tennis Aces and Super Mario Party, which were both negatively received. Even Octopath Traveler, which was a fantastic game, is a big RPG that I couldn't even finish myself. Very niche audience there. At least they got nominated. They could have put Xenoblade 2 in there for Best RPG, but no! But random, what about that big game that Nintendo was hyping up that entire year? The game that featured every single Nintendo character duking it out. You know that game. Nickelodeon All-Star Bros. Yes, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was the main game of 2018, and honestly, mine and every other Nintendo fan's game of the year. But it also came out the literal day after the Game Awards themselves. I remember this because I was waiting in line to get a midnight copy, and while waiting and watching the Game Awards on my phone, Joker DLC got announced and everyone's mind was blown. Say what you want about Smash Ultimate, but it's very hard to include a game in your award show before the game itself has come out. Other than Most Anticipated Game or anything, which it didn't win because it came out the next day. So instead, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate wouldn't get the recognition it deserved until next year. Speaking of... 2019 was a great year for Nintendo at the Game Awards. While Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice took the Game of the Year win, we did get one Game of the Year nomination, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And honestly, how could it not? It's one of the best Nintendo fighting games ever made, being such a huge crossover event that includes a character for everyone to enjoy. It would be criminal to not nominate this game. The game itself did win an award, winning Best Fighting Game, beating contenders like Mortal Kombat and Dead or Alive. But it's Smash Bros. Ultimate, very hard competition to beat. Nintendo actually did take quite a few other categories this year too. Fire Emblem 3 Houses won Best Strategy Game and Player's Choice, funny enough, and Luigi's Mansion 3 not only won Best Family Game, but if you look at the entire category, Nintendo dominated all the nominations. That's right! Ring Fit Adventure, Super Mario Maker 2, Yoshi's Crafted World, and Smash Bros. Ultimate were all nominated for Best Family Game. Nintendo took the entire category. Some nominations are a bit questionable. Smash Bros. Doesn't really come across as a game of the year for the whole family, and technically Mario Maker 2 may not either. Yoshi's Crafted World is a valid option, but Ring Fit? Did no other gaming company have any family-friendly games? I'm glad these games are getting recognition, but it feels like the Game Awards just seems to put a lot of Nintendo games automatically in the family-friendly game category, just because they're made by Nintendo for all ages. It seems strange as it's just there to fill a slot, but it's better than not recognizing them at all. But I don't know, Luigi's Mansion and Fire Emblem 3 Houses could have gotten more nominations, possibly even Game of the Year. But at the time, if they had to pick one Nintendo rep, I get why they would choose Ultimate. Although to me, that game came out in 2018, so Luigi's Mansion or Fire Emblem 3 Houses was probably my Game of the Year. I really need to think about it though. Well, we're at the end of that decade and starting the beginning of a new one. I'm sure nothing crazy at all will happen in 2020. What a dumpster fire of a year 2020 was for a lot of people. But despite not having an audience, the Game Awards went on virtually. Gaming was really important this year, as a lot of us relied on video games to give us a daily routine during such a crazy time. I wonder what game really defined a whole year of us going through that chaos. Last of Us 2 swept the awards this year. Game of the Year, Best Narrative, Best Game Direction, Best Audio Design, Best Performance, Best Innovation and Accessibility, Best Adventure Game. So many awards that didn't get given to Nintendo. And by Nintendo, I mean Animal Crossing, apparently. It's weird to see all these dark and gritty games get nominated for Game of the Year in the orchestra, and then this cute little life sim where you are on an island talking to animals. It's okay, the dark gritty apocalypse in this game was in real life. Animal Crossing New Horizons getting the nomination was cool, but the game also won Best Family Game, surprise there, along with Paper Mario Origami King getting a nomination. Animal Crossing deserved this one by far. It also had a chance of winning Best Multiplayer too, but it lost to Among Us. When it comes to the Game Awards, Animal Crossing was the biggest thing Nintendo had. So do I feel it deserved more awards? Not really? No? One could argue it was the definitive game of 2020, as we were all stuck in our homes playing it for a good couple of months. But you could argue that with Fall Guys, Among Us, Last of Us 2 apparently. But as much as I enjoyed that game and I've spent hours upon hours with Island and Animal Crossing, I don't think it's the game of the year. I don't even think it's aged particularly well, to be honest. I might make a video about that one day. If any game should have won that year, honestly, it was Hades. I feel that was such a fantastic game, and it didn't get nearly as much praise as Last of Us 2 did. Play Hades! It's on the Switch, and it's awesome. This video makes me want to make more videos about other games. Also, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition got snubbed completely. Why do the Game Awards hate Xenoblade? Why? 2021 Game of the Year was taken by a game I didn't expect. It Takes Two. As it not only took Game of the Year, but took the family category as well. What? Against all Nintendo nominations, Mario Party Superstars, New Pokemon Snaps, Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, and WarioWare Get It Together, It Takes Two took the title right under Nintendo's nose. I sadly never played It Takes Two, so I have no idea if it holds up. But from what my friends tell me, it deserves the praise. Plus, the idea of it being a co-op game where you need to play with someone is intriguing and fun. I personally would have chosen Bowser's Fury or Superstars, but that may change if I could find anyone else to play this game with. But the biggest Nintendo star wasn't a family game at all. It was Metroid Dread. Yes, another Metroid game. Not only was Dread nominated for Game of the Year, which was big in its own right, but it won Best Action Adventure Game. That is insane. Game of the Year winners have won that category. So the fact that a Metroid game, a series that at the time didn't have a game released since 2016, that was a victory for Metroid fans. I still haven't played Metroid Dread. It's on my list, I own a copy, I'm working on it, please. But the fact that this game won an award, that a Metroid game was put in the spotlight, that's pretty good for fans. Okay, I'll play Metroid Dread, I'll work on it next year. Okay, 2 more years left, on to 2022. It may have just been me, but we all knew Elden Ring was going to win 2022 Game of the Year, right? It was obvious, right? But I wanted to see the other nominations and, oh my god. Xenoblade 3 got a Game of the Year nomination? That blew my mind when I first saw it. I mean, I know it deserved it for sure, but you've been watching the videos. The biggest credit the series got was a nomination in X. All right, let's start with Family Game first, which was won by Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which, heck yeah, it deserves it. I had a lot of fun with this game, and it really redefined the Kirby series. And even though it was against other Nintendo games like Splatoon 3, Sparks of Hope, and no, Kirby and the Forgotten Land is remarkable. If you haven't played it, go play it. I'll add it to my make a video about this game list. Sparks of Hope and Splatoon 3 also had some recognition of their own, with Sparks of Hope winning Best Strategy and Splatoon 3 winning Best Multiplayer Game. Haha, Switch Sports, nobody loves you. Also, Bayonetta 3 won Best Action Game, which makes sense just looking at the trailer alone. Bayonetta has been part of the show since the beginning, with the nomination of Game of the Year all the way in 2014. Remember that? And the initial reveal of Bayonetta 3 at the Game Awards. Even the Cerza Bayonetta prequel was revealed this same year. I'm very happy Game Awards gives a lot of Bayonetta love, and acknowledges it for its action. Even though I never played the game myself, it probably deserves it. That's a whole trilogy I need to play. But it was a great year for Nintendo, and a great year for Xenoblade fans. It got nominated for Game of the Year, Best RPG, and Best Score in Music. Oh yeah, lost 2 of those categories to Elden Ring, not surprising. But have you heard the soundtrack in Xenoblade 3? There's no way it would lose to
God of War Ragnarok.
God of War? This is fine. Xenoblade has lost categories before. It's fine. We're moving on. No, we're not. I'm sorry. No. Just no. I know it's been a year, but I am still sore about this. Are you telling me that Xenoblade 3, a series known for having such amazing soundtracks, lost to a guy singing with some drums that appears at the end of the game? No, I'm sorry. I don't care how good God of War Ragnarok is. The music in Xenoblade 3 is phenomenal. It made me laugh, it made me cry, it made me feel adrenaline, it made me cry again, sobbing uncontrollably, and it lost. I'm sorry, I know that this is my bias talking. Just listen to this and tell me that it doesn't deserve it. Exactly. Soundtrack of 2022, no questions, Xenoblade got shafted, again, just like every other game in this franchise at the Game Awards. But you got to hear Pedro play the flute and do it some justice. And Nintendo did win one other thing with most anticipated game of the year yet again with Tears of the Kingdom. And this is where my recording session ends because the Game Awards haven't happened yet. So, we're gonna cut back to when they do. Tears of the Kingdom didn't win. And so, Game Awards 2023 just happened. I watched it, I wore a suit, and got to see all the announcements and the speed run of awards. And speeches, apparently. Next time, give the Game Award recipients of the Game Awards more than 30 seconds to do their speech, please. And as much as I want to tell you Tears of the Kingdom won Game of the Year, it did not. No, Mario Wonder didn't win Game of the Year either. Both lost to Baldur's Gate 3. Zelda did win Best Action Adventure Game, which honestly, like Breath of the Wild, fits the bill with adventuring and going all over Hyrule, above and below. If there was any award Zelda was going to win, it's that one. Mario Wonder won the signature Best Family Game, winning against Pikmin 4 and a few others. But don't feel bad for Ochi and the Pikmin, because Pikmin 4 won Best Strategy Game, going against Fire Emblem Engage and Advance Wars. Feel bad for those. Okay, real talk, it was so cool seeing Pikmin 4 winning an award. It's just such a surreal accomplishment because Pikmin had never been acknowledged at the Game Awards, let alone won an award before. And I am so happy for it. The game shines so much and deserves all the praise. Now go play it now if you haven't already. I actually made a video about this one. And while you think I would be mad about Baldur's Gate 3 winning against Tears of the Kingdom, not really. Baldur's Gate 3 really shocked the world. Everyone was playing it, it was all over TikTok and social media. Literally so many people were participating in the game's community one day after another. It's a game where actual AAA companies tweeted about how not to expect future games like Baldur's Gate 3 because they can never live up to anything past it. That's how good it was. Even rich publishers were intimidated by the game. Baldur's Gate 3 is 2023's Game of the Year. I knew that from playing just a couple hours of the game on PC, and this is coming from someone who played 60 hours of Tears of the Kingdom. I'd rather have a game that deserves to get the award get the awards. And all my praises go to Larian Studios for their gem of a game. Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Wonder, and Pikmin 4 won an award each. And that's good enough for me. And that's all the awards they got. Tears of the Kingdom got nominated for Best Art Direction along with Mario Wonder, but lost to Alan Wake 2. And Mario Wonder got nominated for Best Direction, but also lost to Alan Wake 2. Maybe I should play Alan Wake 2, the musical number there was excellent. Also, Nintendo got a nomination for Best Adaptation with the Mario movie, but it lost to the Last of Us series. I'm not going to act surprised. I love the Mario movie, but it's very safe, very corporate, made by Illumination. I can easily see why the Game Awards chose The Last of Us. But hey, it's still a successful movie for Nintendo, so if it doesn't win an award or two, it's fine. It's still one of the most successful animated movies to date. Will hopefully open the door for more Nintendo movies. But it's fine. While I could have pictured Nintendo winning more awards, I am satisfied. 2023 was a super competitive year, just as competitive as 2017. So the fact Nintendo got 3 awards at all still was amazing to me. I'd be more mad if Nintendo got snubbed, but don't worry, they weren't Spider-Man 2. Also, speaking of snubbed, Xenoblade 3 Future Redeemed didn't get a nomination, but no surprise there, other DLC campaigns can get nominated, but not Xenoblade 3! Let's see how Xenoblade 4 pans out in the next 5 years. And that's all the moments Nintendo won the Game Awards. Do I think they should have won more? Honestly, I feel a lot of the nominations fit. If anything, the Game Awards being around for almost 10 years is still a bit flawed. Getting better, but flawed. It was definitely a little wonky in the beginning, but feels a lot of times the awards given out are deserved. With very few exceptions, I felt they were appropriate with Nintendo's wins or lack thereof. And they all made sense. Do I want to see Nintendo succeed more? Of course I do, I'm a Nintendo fan. But Game Awards are all about games, celebrating all their accomplishments from all devs and publishers. And like I said, announcements. Did I mention announcements? Corporate game published announcements. Yeah, the Game Awards is a giant advertisement. They didn't even hide it that much this year. But it's kinda hype to watch the announcements, especially since E3 is gone. And the musical performances are always really hype. I wish they spent more time than a few seconds with these awards though. They rushed them by so quickly to promote, what, another shooter? And it really is wrong to rush these speeches, as these awards should be about recognizing the people who make the games themselves. But hey, it's a gaming award show that still recognizes these games, and they are still fun to watch, most of the time. It's kinda sad to see Nintendo not as involved with the Game Awards. I feel a lot of it is because Reggie isn't with Nintendo anymore, as I feel he was the bridge between the two. And with him retired, they just don't work together as often anymore, which is sad, as discovering these early Game Award moments and memories was great, and I wish there were more Nintendo Game Awards moments in this present day. In the end, my favorite gaming company has gotten recognized quite a lot, more than I thought they would. And while I wish they could always get more, these iconic games are getting a lot of love. Award or no award. Statue or no statue. The Game Awards reaches their 10-year anniversary next year, and I can't wait to see what Nintendo games win or are nominated that year and the future. What are your thoughts on the Game Awards? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the like button and stay tuned for more videos.